Welcome, everyone. This is Brother Doug with my sister Shoshana, our brother Dennis here, and our sister Marissa Brown. We're going to be doing a study today, continuing our Torah study that we started around the Week of Tabernacles. So we will be continuing and going on to chapter 23 of Genesis. And let me just make sure. Okay, so I'll start our reading off here. Here we go. And it says, and the life of Sarah was 127 years, the years of the life of Sarah. And and the life of Sarah was 127 years, the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, which is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn Sarah and to lament her. And Abraham rose up from the presence of his dead, meaning he rose up from mourning from his wife, from his dead wife, and spake with the sons of the Hittites, saying, I am a guest and a sojourner with you. Give me the possession of a sepulchre, meaning, a grave site where I could basically this is kind of like, in my opinion, this is where we get plots for our family when they die. This is kind of the origin of getting plots for burying the dead of your family and him paying for a piece of land, to bury his wife. So this is kind of like the origin of what we get for plots and stuff like that in modern day. So it says, give me the possession of a sepulchre with you that I may bury my dead from before me. And the sons of Hethah answered Abraham, saying to him, receive from us Rabbana, a prince before Yahuwah are you among us. So they kind of considered Abraham like royalty. They don't want him to pay anything. Basically, we're trying to give it to him for free. It says, in the best of our sepulchres bury your dead. No man of us will refuse his sepulchre to you for the burial of your dead. And Abraham rose and bowed to the people of the land, the sons of Hittah, and he spake with them, saying, if you are willing in your midst, in your minds, that I should bury my dead from before me, receive from me and request for me of Ephron bar Zochar, that he will give me the double cavern, which is in the side of the field, for the full amount of silver. He shall give it to me among you for the possession of a sepulchre. But Ephron was sitting in the midst of the sons of Hittah. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham from the sons of Hittah, all entering the gate of the city, saying, no, my master, receive of me. I will present to you the field and the cavern which is in it. To you I will present it. In the sight of the sons of my people will I present it to you. So it's kind of giving an idea like he wants the esteem, to give it to Abraham, and he wants to be seen by men. It's kind of interesting, kind of sounds similar to what the Pharisees were doing. And in the New Testament, they want to do their two deeds in front of men. So the sight of the sons of the people will I present it to you, bury your dead. And Abraham bowed before the people of the land, and he spake with Ephron before the people of the land, saying, nevertheless, if you will do me a mercy or favor, receive from me, I will give money for the field. So Abraham's not allowing him to give it to him for free. Take of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, my master, receive of me. The land is worth 400 seline of silver. Between me and you, what is it? So basically, back and forth. Ephron doesn't want Abraham's money. And he says, bury your dead. And Abraham agreed with Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver of which he had spoken before the sons of Hittah, 400 seline of silver, which I guess that would be shekels.
Shekels, yeah.
Yeah, so that's just a weird word. Seline, shekels, same thing, which is received in merchandise in every city. And Ephron confirmed the field in which is double cavern, which is before Mamre, the field and the cavern that is therein, and all the trees which were in the field and all its boundaries round about to Abraham, for a purchase in the sight of the sons of Hittah of all the entering the gate of the city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the double cavern of the field, which is before Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And the field and cavern which is in it were confirmed to Abraham for a possession of a sepulchre from the sons of Hittah. Now, obviously, this seems kind of contradictory. If you've read the Torah, you'll see, well, we're not supposed to make covenants with Hittites and Canaanites and Perizzites and yada yada. But this is before Mount Sinai. This is before Yahuwah gave them that commandment. So there wasn't a restriction at this point from him making a covenant with a Hittite. So we got to realize that too. And I just would like to get the verse for people so they can look it up for themselves about the difference once they get into the land of Canaan. Do not make covenants with them. Just so they know I'm not making this up. Okay, so there's a difference here in Exodus 23:32, which says, and actually, I think I'm going to go to, I'll go to the e-sword here so I can get the context here. So Exodus 23:32, and let's see here. Okay. You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their mighty ones. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their mighty ones, it will surely be a snare unto you. So again, this is the context of him leading the Yashrulites after they're taken out of Egypt, and Moshe and Aaron and the rest of the Yashrulites are going into the land of Canaan. So this is a different situation where now it actually is forbidden for them to make covenants with people like the Hittites. So just wanted to point that out. That is Exodus chapter 23, verse 32 to 33. Wow, we're already running down to 8 minutes left. Is there anything Shoshana, you or Dennis or Sister Marissa would like to add before we have to do a part 2?
Only that in the book of Jasher, it gives the details of Sarah's death.
Yeah.
And shows that Satan appears as an old man and tells her that Isaac's been killed by her husband as a sacrifice, and she freaked out. And then I think somebody said that Isaac's alive, and she jumped with joy that she was so excited that her spirit left her.
Yeah, she had a heart attack, it says, from the joy.
All right, I think I found it here online, so let me just check it here and see. I just want to make a disclaimer here. The majority of our group does not accept Jasher as equal with the Book of Enoch or other books that we believe to be inspired that's not in the canon. I will say there's some interesting extra info that could give us some context historically from the Book of Jasher, but I am not ready to say it's on the level of the Book of Enoch, in my opinion. So I just wanted to look this up for Sister Marissa brought up this interesting point that it does give us a little bit more context of Sarah's cause of death, possibly. So it says the life of Sarah was 127 years old, and Sarah died. And Abraham rose up from before the dead to seek the burial place, to bury his wife Sarah. And he went and spoke to the children of Heth, the inhabitants of the land, saying, I am a stranger, sojourner. So, okay, we got kind of like the same story as Genesis. It's very similar to Genesis 23 here. Let me see here if I can find the actual, where it actually talks about her.
It's before that.
Okay, so it must be the chapter before that.
Yes.
Okay, so it would be actually Jasher 23. I don't know why they gave it. I searched it online. They're giving me Jasher 24 for some weird reason. All right, sorry about that. There we go. Why they were doing that. Or is it at that? Wow, this is interesting. We were just talking about this earlier. That's kind of interesting. At that time, the word of Yahuwah came to Abraham, and he said to him, Abraham, and he said, here I am. He said, all right, so this is the retelling of Isaac, the sacrifice of Isaac. So this is interesting. Okay, so they kind of give a, it's like a parallel here. And let's see here, that she dressed Isaac, her son. So this is talking about Sarah dressing her son Isaac in verse 15 here. She caught hold of her son Isaac, and they still wept together, Abraham and Isaac. Okay, those that come down the road. Okay, where is it getting to her? Here we go. All right, we'll start at verse 28 here of chapter 23 of Jasher. It says, and Abraham heard this and knew that it was the word of Satan who endeavored to draw him aside from the way of Yahuwah. But Abraham would not hearken to the voice of Satan. And Abraham rebuked him so that he went away. And Satan returned and came to Isaac and appeared unto Isaac in the figure of a young man, comely and well-favored, which you can actually find that in the canon. That's not too far-fetched. Satan can transform. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Angels can transform.
All of them can.
That's actually in the 66 book canon. So, and he approached Isaac and said to him, do you not know and understand that your old silly father brings you to slaughter this day for nothing? Wow. Trying to turn Isaac against Abraham. That's interesting. Now, therefore, my son, do not listen or attend to him, for he is a silly old man, and let not your precious being and beautiful figure be lost from the earth. Wow. So, yeah, trying to make Isaac seek to save his own life.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And Isaac heard this and said to Abraham, have you heard, my father, that which this man has spoken? Even thus has he spoken. And Abraham answered his son Isaac and said to him, take heed of him and do not listen to his words, nor attend to him, for he is Satan, endeavoring to draw us aside this day from the commands of Elohim. And Abraham still rebuked Satan. Satan went from him, and seeing he could not prevail over him, he hid himself from them, and he went and passed before them in the road, and he transformed himself to a large brook of water in the road. Whoa, okay. A little shape-shifting there. He turned into a brook of water. And Abraham and Isaac and his two young men reached the place and saw a brook large and beautiful as the mighty waters. Yeah, of course. Satan turns himself into water because Yahusha is the living waters. Yeah, of course. Of course, yeah. I mean, you could get so much spiritual, if you spiritualize that concept, you can see why Satan probably did that. It's probably, trying to be the counterfeit of Yahusha there. And they entered the brook and passed through it, and the waters at first reached their legs, and they went deeper in the brook, and the waters reached to their necks, and they were all terrified on account of the water. While they were going over the brook, Abraham recognized that place, and he knew that there was no water there before. Abraham said to his son Isaac, I know this place, and there was no brook nor water. Now therefore it is this Satan who does all this to us, to draw us aside this day from the commands of Elohim. And Abraham rebuked him and said to him, Yahuwah rebuke you, O Satan, begone from us, for we go by the commands of Elohim. And Satan was terrified at the voice of Abraham, and he went away from them, and the place again became dry land as it was at first. And Abraham went with Isaac toward the place that Elohim had told him. And on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place at the distance which Elohim had told him of. Very interesting. On the third day. Interesting. And a pillar of fire appeared to him that reached from earth to heaven. Whoa. And the cloud of his steam upon the mountain, and the esteem of Yahuwah was seen in the cloud. And Abraham said to Isaac, my son, do you see in that mountain which we perceive at a distance that which I see upon it? And Isaac answered and said to his father, I see, and lo, a pillar of fire and cloud, the esteem of Yahuwah is seen upon the cloud. And Abraham knew that his son Isaac was accepted before Yahuwah for a burnt offering. And Abraham said unto Eleazar and Ishmael, his son. So this is actually shown, that's kind of interesting, little added info here. This is showing that Ishmael was with them.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Do you also see that which we see upon the mount, which is at a distance? And they answered and said, we see nothing more than the other mountains of the earth. And Abraham knew that they were not accepted before Yahuwah to go with them. And Abraham said to them, abide ye here with the donkeys, or with the donkey, while I am Isaac, my son, will go to yonder mount and worship there before Yahuwah and return to you. Eleazar and Ishmael remained in that place, and Abraham had commanded. As Abraham had commanded, Abraham took wood for the burnt offering. So this is talking about basically the same instance we get in Genesis 22. So what I'm trying to see is where he appears to Sarah, because we don't have much time before we have to do a part.
It's towards the end of the chapter.
Yeah, here we go. Verse 76, here we go. This is the part I wanted to get to show the connection here. It says, and Satan went to Sarah, and he appeared to her in the figure of an old man, very humble and meek. So notice how Satan always appears to someone different. He will appear to you what you would receive. So that's kind of interesting. So she receives a